Hello YouTube, and welcome back to another video from me, Mad About Hoovers. And today we're going to be looking at the Shark powered lift-away. Now last week, if you remember, I bought this machine and did the unboxing video, and we said that I would sort of have it for about a week, because it's a week later now. This is the following Saturday, okay, so I've had a chance to use it for the entire week. And it's been the sole vacuum cleaner all week, and I've had a chance to go over all the features and how it works, and find out anything that I don't like about it, because usually I make up my mind about a vacuum cleaner pretty quickly. It usually takes me a few uses to work out whether I'm going to actually like it or not. And the good news so far is that this machine hasn't really disappointed me too much. So there are a couple of little issues that I need to bring up. But we'll talk about that later on. I'm also going to be doing a little demonstration on the carpets, and we're going to be doing a little dirt pickup test. There's some dirt on the carpets in there, not an awful lot. It's not a big mess test, so I'm sorry if anyone was expecting that. They're going to be a bit disappointed. We don't do big mess tests with new machines like this that are supposedly under guarantee. Okay, so we'll have a little bit pickup test in that room there. Some on the furniture here with a turbo brush, and some on the hard floor in the back there. And if there's enough time, I wanted to try and see how it does on the stairs with the lift away. So, as I say, this is the Shark powered lift away. It's the updated version of it. This machine, as it stands, the NV681UKT series, I think it is. This has been going for 2-3 years now. It's a bit of an older design now. It used to be called the Powered Lift-Away Speed model listed, because it's quite small and compact, and they used to call it the Speed, but they don't anymore. It's now known as the NV681UKT, so the difference is the 1 instead of the 0 on the model number. And that's how you can tell that this one is a 2017 EU compliant machine, which means that it satisfies all the requirements that the EU set out in their 2017 regulations, which means that it can't be any more than 80 decibels noise level in use, and it also can't use more than 900 watts, which it doesn't. But one of the first things that I noticed about this machine was the fact that it's not as noisy as previous Sharks have been. So I think with the noise level, the EU has actually done quite a good thing by making the manufacturers start making the machines quieter. Because if people remember back to the days when the DC07 was around, which was a Dyson model, that was chronically, and it was seriously loud. You really were pretty much deafened. It was one of the loudest machines I've ever used, and the decibel reading had to be into the mid-90s with the DC07. So the 80 decibels that this machine is very, very quiet in comparison to older machines. So what we're going to do, we'll get straight down to it. I'll get the camera down here, and we will have a look in close up, and I'll go in the way I normally do in my reviews. We'll talk about the handle first and then go down to the bottom of the machine. Okay, so let's have a look what we get. So this machine hasn't really changed very much from the 680 before it. Pretty much all the features are identical to the NV680, with the exception of something that we will go over very shortly. First of all, we will talk about what the machine actually comes with in terms of extras. Now, with it being the UKT model, that T on the end of the model number means it's the true pet version. And all that means is that it's a different colour to the standard NV681, which is the NV681UK, and that's a blue colour. And as you can see, this one is sort of a nice burgundy and deep grey, whereas the other one is like a bluey colour. Now the only difference is that basically it comes with what we call the True Pet Turbo tool, which is this. Now this fits onto the end of the hose, and you can use it to clean your upholstery and to clean your staircase. You could use it in the car, and we're going to be a bit later on trying it out on this dirty chair that I've sort of made a little bit more dirty, so we can see how it works. Now the attachment for this is a 35mm, because I've measured it, which also means that if you didn't like the tools that Shark supplied and you happened to have some Miele tools or anything that was 35mm, such as these, this is a Miele dusting brush. It's a 35mm, and this fits perfectly onto the end of the handle, because one of the things I don't like about this machine is the combination tool. It's very similar to the one that you get on the light ball from Dyson, but the difference is that the dusting brush will not remove from the crevice tool. It's always permanently fixed on there and you can't take it off. It also means that the dusting tool is very long, and I prefer a short one, so it's good news that you can buy 35mm tools like this that will fit on the Shark. And the same goes for the turbo brush. If you had a 35mm turbo brush, I mean this one here it's a Miele one, this will fit on the end of the hose just as well as this. So you could buy the 680 if you had a 35mm turbo brush. Okay, that's the only difference really. So what have we got on the top of the handle then? It's a very nice handle. It's got the comfort grip on here, which is like a textured padded support, which quite a lot of cleaners don't come with these days, but this one does. On the front of the handle we have the control here, which basically decides between carpet and hard floor, and it just switches between the two. And what that does basically, it turns the brush roll on or off on the floor head. So you'd have it off for hard floor and on for carpets. The main power switch is actually down there on the machine. It's not on the handle. I would have liked it if we'd have had a power switch here as well, and I believe that some American Sharks do have the power switch on the handle as well as the carpet control motor and the power head switch. On the back of the handle here we have the inlet for the hose, which is permanently hardwired in. You can't take this out of the handle. So the reason for that is because there is a power cable that comes through this hose, which powers the floor head when you have it in lift away mode. That's why it's called the powered lift away, because when you lift the canister away, the power still goes to the floor head, so you can get under low furniture. Now I can't be doing much demonstrations with low furniture because I haven't got any, but it does mean that you can, if you had a low coffee table, or say you wanted to go underneath the TV stand, you could take the power head and go underneath there without having the pod attached. So that's quite useful. It turns it into a cylinder cleaner effectively, but this doesn't have wheels on, you have to carry it. So there we go, the hose is on the back of here. It's a relatively stretchy hose, but it doesn't actually stretch all the way up a flight of stairs, nowhere near. And the reason for that is because you would take off the pod and carry the pod up the stairs with you. This little clip here attaches the hose to the back of the handle when it's used in upright mode. I haven't found that this pops out on me in use so far. Initially on the unboxing I thought that might have been an issue, but once it's popped in, it does tend to stay in, as long as it's positioned at the right height on the hose, and you can just slide it up and down the hose as you need it. What it's designed to do is basically when you pop it out to go into lift away mode, this automatically pulls itself away and you don't have to unconnect it. That's why if you pull the handle out, which I can't do at the moment because the power cable's on and it's attached on there. What you can do though is you can press this release button here, and once you've pressed it you don't need to hold your hand on it. You just press it once and it retains that position, and then you can literally lift out that, and then when you pull it, it separates itself so the hose comes free without you having to unhook this yourself. That's how it's designed to be, it's just to snap away. So while we've got the hose off, I can just try putting the Miele dusting brush on the end, and it pushes on just like so. So it's actually much better, I find, with a competitor's dusting brush on. And I find that's very useful. Being a 35mm, like you say, you can buy cheap 35mm tools off eBay if you need to, and they will fit directly on the end of here. But you can't put them straight on the end of the hose because that doesn't detach. Okay. On here you have a suction control, maximum to minimum. Let's just put this dusting brush down. What this does basically is you can, if the vacuum cleaner is hard to push on hard floor or carpets, or you don't want all the full suction when you're using the tools, you can just move that straight across there. And all it is, it's a suction relief valve, so you'll hear the air hissing into here. It does increase the noise level, but it reduces the amount of pull down onto the carpet. That's very useful because you can't control the speed of the motor. That's always at a set speed. It's basically a suction control valve. Okay. So there's the handle. Like I say, that's always at your fingertips there, so you can turn the, you can see it the right way around now. Carpet and hardware. It doesn't light up, that doesn't, but it does highlight it in yellow to which one you've got it on. Right, so the hose itself will not stretch very far, as you can see, and if you do pull it too hard, the machine will pull back, and it can sometimes tip itself over, so you do need to be careful of that if you're using it in this way. Okay, so we just put the hose back into here and click it in firmly, because I found if you don't click it in firmly and you don't push it down, you come to move the machine and this pulls back out again. You have to do it so that that little button there latches in and clicks, right, and then your handle release button will snap back up. What does it say here? The hose contains electrical wires, basically, that's what that says. Right, so going down on the front there, we've got your Shark logo. This now forms part of the electrical power wand as we go down, and there we can see the top cable hook. The cable itself is 8 metres long. I have measured it, that's what it says in the specs as well. You don't get a 10 metre cable with this, and I would wish that you did, to be honest. That extra 2 metres, making it up to 10, is very useful. So this does only have 8 metres, but it's better than 6. So we can release the quick release there, like so, and pull the cable down. The lower hook is down the bottom here. So you've got your cable relief grommet here, which protects the cable as you're pulling it out and twisting it around. It does come out halfway down, but I did say on the first video on the unboxing that I didn't think it had a cord hook, but in fact it has. It's just there, so you'd hook the cord through there like that when you use it. Okay. It had been pointed out to me in the comments below that video that there was a cord hook, and I did find it before I'd read those comments. It's just that when you're doing the unboxing you don't notice everything straight away. And it does take a little while afterwards before you go through the machine and read the instructions and then find out where all these additional things are, and yes, it's there. So as we come down the machine now, let's just take that back off there again. We come down to the top of the canister here, and there's your Shark logo on the front there. It's got a really good carry handle on it, so you can carry the machine with this handle. Again, it's got the Comfort Grip rubberised handle on, which is quite good. You've got your power switch here, which turns the machine on and off. And on the other side here, you have your lift away button. And again, it's a one-click action, so you only need to press it once and you don't need to hold that button. Again, on the back you have another one of these single press action buttons. This one's for the wand release. So if we wanted to release the wand, we would press that button down once. Okay, so it's held itself down, and it'll continue to hold itself down until you lift on the handle and pull the wand away, like so. So now that is what you call the power wand. It is quite heavy. You do notice it when you've got it in your hand like this, but you can use this then to, you can reach right to the top to do your coving round the corners of ceilings, getting cobwebs down, but really you are stretching the hose quite a lot doing that, so it's best to have it in lift away mode to do that. So as I say, the handle will come off, so you've got the handle on its own. You don't have to have it with the power wand, and again you can fit, let me see if that will go directly on the bottom of there. Can you put your 35mm tools on? Yes, you can. So it is possible then to use a dusting brush that you might want to buy yourself with a 35mm fitting on, and then you can do that. And you can also use the tool that comes with the machine, which I shall go to into a sec. So, if we wanted it to be in lift away mode, all we would do then is we would press the lift away button here. You press it once, it stays down until you lift the pod away from the cleaner, and then you just basically leave the floor head behind. And then what you're able to do is you're able to carry this with one hand and operate the hose and the wand, if needed, with the other hand. And that's how you'd use it to clean your stairs with, that's how you'd use it to walk around and do your above floor dusting with, and then you aren't carrying the weight of the floor head around, and that's quite substantial weight. So you are leaving a little bit of weight behind. That's one of the unique things about Sharks. They are the lift-aways. But say again, I mean, Vax do the lift-away version now. I think it's the Air Max steerable, whatever it is now, the lift-away one. But there we go, that's how you'd lift it away. Let's now go into what we get on the actual pod. So we're keeping it in the lift-away mode. When you get it, as I say, you have the hose separate. The hose does detach by pressing the hose release here. I'm not going to do it now because it needs two hands and that to get it back in. But basically you press that down, pull the hose out. And normally you wouldn't need to remove the hose from the machine. Once it's clicked in, unless you were changing the hose to replace it, you wouldn't really need to take that back out. On the back of the pod we have the tools. Now this here is the combination dusting brush and crevice tool, which is very, very similar to what you get on the Dyson light ball. That, let me just put this down on the floor here. That basically pulls off. This is a bit stiff to start with, but I think, you know, once it gets a little bit older and you've used it a few times, that will come off easier. It has little divots in the bottom here, which basically correspond to these little divots on the bottom of here, which means it'll only go in one of two ways round. You can have it in that way around or that way around. It's best to have it in that way so that you aren't damaging the bristles on the back of here. So you push it down until that locks in like so. Now this combination brush, basically you can slide using this little button here, much like the Dyson light ball, all the way down to make your combination dusting brush. The trouble is that once that's on the handle, and I'll do that now, you have a very long distance between the handle and where the dusting brush is. And if you were going around dusting your computer keyboard and things like that, I do find it's rather awkward having to have a dusting brush on such a long crevice tool. Again, it's something I didn't like with the Dyson either. I wish Shark would go back to using what they used to use in the past, which was the individual dusting brush, much like the Miele one that was over there that I showed earlier. But if you didn't like this, you could buy a 35mm dusting brush that would push on. The other problem with this is that this does not come off the crevice tool. No matter how much you pull it off, it will not remove. So if you wanted a full-length crevice tool to get down the side of your armchair with, that is how you'd have to use it, and you don't really have much of a length of the crevice tool. So that is, from me, is a little bit of a downer, that you can't remove the dusting brush part from the crevice tool, where you can with the Dyson. So I think Shark need to think again on this one, because that isn't very useful as a crevice tool when you have this permanently attached to it. But again, you can buy 35mm crevice tools off eBay. So that's the combination tool. We'll put that back on the side. Okay, on the other side here, now this again is a change from the earlier models, which did have a stubborn brush fixed on. This is the upholstery tool, and again it's a little bit stiff to get off to start with. Let's have a look. There we go. Now on older models, this actually came with a brush attached to it as well that you could remove. Now Shark had not done that with this. All you get is this now. You don't get the actual brush part that goes onto it, which used to act like a stubborn dirt brush. So you don't get that, it's just solely the upholstery tool with the lint lifters on, like so. What else you don't get with this is the actual dust away mop that they used to supply with the 680. which was like a hard floor head, very similar to the size of this, that you used to fit a microfiber dusting cloth to the bottom of it with Velcro strips. Again, Shark don't supply any of that now with the NV681. So I think basically you're getting a lot less now for your money than what you used to. Shark used to supply a whole load of accessories with these. This being the top of the line powered liftaway, short of being the Duo Clean, you are limited now to what accessories you get. I didn't realise when I bought it, to be honest, that I hadn't thought about it at the time, is it doesn't actually come with that dedicated hard floor heads. Not that I need it much anyway, but if you did have hard floors and were expecting to get that, you won't with this, because Shark don't supply it anymore. So let's put that back on there. Now, on the front we have the bin. This is rather a small bin. It's only 1.1 litres, so I believe. You've got your little logo on the front there, no loss of suction, motorised brush, blah blah blah. Then below that you have got your filter where the exhaust comes out. To lift the bin off, you would click your two little levers up on the side like so, and then you would have your dust canister. The top of the dust canister opens up using this latch. So if you had a clog in the primary separator here, there's a little mesh cone which draws the suction through. That can get over time wrapped up with long hair if there's people with long hair in your family. So periodically you'd need to open this lid and check inside there that there weren't debris all wrapped around this little metal conical what is a shroud really. Inside the front here is where the rubbish spins round in there and gets thrown out of the top. So that down the front is where the large debris goes. It's not very big on this machine, like I say, it is only 1.1 litres in there, but that's still over twice the size you got of a handheld. So if you empty it every time, then you should be okay. You might have to empty it a couple, 3 times in a full house clean. But it's not that much hardship, and it does reduce the size and the bulk of the machine. So that pulls out like so, and then the bottom, I mean you can see there's dirt in there because I have used this most of the week. So what you would do is basically you would press that latch, and it's I'm going to do that now, and then the dirt drops out the bottom like that. So there we can see basically what it's picked up during the week. I mean my house is pretty clean here, that's pretty much all it's got. So you've got your usual levels of household dust and dirt there, and you can see the fine dust in there as well. So that's basically how you'd empty the bin, and then it just clicks up like so. In the back here we've got the filters. Now this is what basically one of the points about Shark that Dyson don't seem to suffer with is dirty filters. But these filters do appear to hold an awful lot of dust before it will lose suction. So although this actually does look dusty after just 1 week, this filter can actually get absolutely saturated with dust before it'll lose suction. That's the design of these things, is this big sponge will hold an awful lot of fine dust. There have been tests done by vacuum tests on his channel that showed him sucking up an awful lot of flour with one of these, and the amount of flour this absorbed before it actually started losing suction was quite amazing. I couldn't believe it. So as long as you wash this out, I would say to do it once a month. You might need to do it more often, but maybe once a month like you do with most Dysons. Shark say that you should do it every 3 months or loss of suction may occur, but I think that's too long. If you used it regularly, I'd wash this every month. Underneath here you've got another filter, like so. That again you'd wash when you wash this one. And then underneath there is the entrance to the motor. This does have a little rubber seal all around the edge so that the dirt can't get past that seal. So it's normal for that to appear dirty and dusty inside there, because that is basically the fine dust collector sponge. On the bottom we have another filter, so we just pull this latch up and then lift it forwards, and then we can see our exhaust filter. There's the motor exhaust there. In the back of here is a sponge pad, which basically is here to muffle the noise of the motor. It's like a muffling sponge. And then underneath there you've got a washable HEPA filter, which you can, Shark say to wash that every year. It is washable in water. And that basically is your exhaust filter. So we can put that back in there like so. Right, so that's the main unit there, and as I say, it's not too heavy to carry around. We'll put the dustbin back on. So, you know, I used to have a big beef with the filters on these, that they used to get dirty really quick, but to be honest, I mean, they do. It's only a single cyclonic, but the size of that sponge means that they can take a lot of dust into there before they'll lose suction. I will be testing it further in the weeks to come, and we'll see how it goes. I'm not going to wash this for at least a month. Now, just before we end this video of the features, I will look at the floor head here, and then in the next video that's going to be coming afterwards, I will be doing my tests on the carpet. We're pushing it round and using it. So, before we do, let's have a look at the floor head. This floor head here is 80 watts, according to Shark. It has edge cleaning along one edge only, which is not the edge where the belt is. You've got your function light here, which in normal use would glow green when the brush rolls on. If it turns red, it means that you've jammed it with, you've got a sock stuck in there, or it's jammed one way and you have to unjam it. To recline it, you put your foot here and then pull your handle back. On the front, you've got LED headlights on either side of the floor head. And then one thing that it doesn't have is large debris channels, but the Shark have released a new model. Well, it's not new anymore, it came out last year, was the Duo Clean, which has the roller on the front. So if you did have a problem where there was lots of large debris lying around on your carpets, then you're best off going for the Duo Clean version rather than this one, but it's more expensive, which it's bound to be. Going on underneath, what we'd have here is the brush roll. So you've got fairly stiff bristles. They're medium, I would say, on this. Gives a good clean to your carpet. They are chevron shape, and which means that they sweep the dirt into the centre of the head. Now in the centre here, just to the back of there, is where your outlet is, which goes to the hose, which is that, and that leads up to the pipe, which leads to the cylinder. Okay. Now, there we can see on the bottom, that, when the camera focuses, that it's 80 watts, 240 volts, and you have your clean out port here, which is 1 screw, 2 screws, 3 screws that you'd undo with a coin or a screwdriver, and then this sole plate lifts off. The brush roll does not remove from the machine. I have looked at that. You can't remove the brush roll, and also brush rolls are not available to buy as spares. This is one of the big downsides about Shark, is that they don't supply a lot of spares for these machines. You have to buy the entire complete floor head as it looks like this. If the brush roll wears out, you can't buy the brush roll on its own. I went on Buy Spares, they don't even have Shark on there. You might be able to get these things on eBay, I don't know, but all I know is the spares places like Buy Spares and eSpares do not stock Shark spares. So if that brush roll wears out, you will have to have a brand new head, which is about 70 odd quid. That's if Shark have got any in stock. You tend to find that when they bring a new model out, they seem to run out of stock very quickly for the old models. And a lot of the stuff on the guarantee is not covered by the guarantee, so you need to read that very carefully. Now, I went on Shark's Facebook page, Shark Clean, right? There's two versions, there's Shark Clean and Shark Clean UK. Now, you read on there about people that have had problems with these, and Shark seems to like to get out of the warranty by saying that you've broken it and you've got to replace the entire thing at your own expense and pay the shipping. I don't like that very much. On the back here, this hose, I have seen numerous pictures and complaints on that Facebook page of people who have had these hoses split. They're split in multiple places on this bend, and you can't buy these hoses separately. If that hose splits, you have to have an entire new floor head at 70, 80 odd quid. I don't like that either. So, whilst the cleaner I don't like their policy with spares, that if things go wrong, it's going to cost you a lot of money to buy an entire new floor head, if they have any in stock. So, that's basically a rundown of all the features of the NV681UKT. I hope you enjoyed looking at this. I've enjoyed making it. So what we're going to do is, on the next video, I will go through the tests with the machine, and we will switch it on and we will push it around on the carpets, go up the stairs with it, do the dirt test in there on hard floors, and we'll see how it performs. This video has solely been a video all about the features and how it works. So I'll see you again on the next video. Hello YouTube, and welcome back to another video from me, Mad About Hoovers. And today we're going to be looking at the Shark powered lift-away. Now last week, if you remember, I bought this machine and did the unboxing video, and we said that I would sort of have it for about a week, because it's a week later now. This is the following Saturday, okay, so I've had a chance to use it for the entire week, and it's been the sole vacuum cleaner all week, and I've had a chance to go over all the features and how it works, and find out anything that I don't like about it, because usually I make up my mind about a vacuum cleaner pretty quickly. It usually takes me a few uses to work out whether I'm going to actually like it or not. And the good news so far is that this machine hasn't really disappointed me too much. So there are a couple of little issues that I need to bring up, but we'll talk about that later on. I'm also going to be doing a little demonstration on the carpets, and we're going to be doing a little dirt pickup test. There's some dirt on the carpets in there, not an awful lot. It's not a big mess test, so I'm sorry if anyone was expecting that. They're going to be a bit disappointed. We don't do big mess tests with new machines like this that are supposedly under guarantee. Okay, so we'll have a little bit pickup test in that room there, some on the furniture here with a turbo brush, and some on the hard floor in the back there, and if there's enough time I wanted to try and see how it does on the stairs with the lift away. So as I say, this is the Shark powered lift away. It's the updated version of it. This machine as it stands, the NV681UKT series I think it is. This has been going for 2-3 years now. It's a bit of an older design now. It used to be called the powered lift away speed model listed, because it's quite small and compact, and they used to call it the speed, but they don't anymore. It's now known as the NV681UKT, so the difference is the 1 instead of the 0 on the model number, and that's how you can tell that this one is a 2017 EU compliant machine, which means that it satisfies all the requirements that the EU set out in their 2017 regulations, which means that it can't be any more than 80 decibels noise level in use, and it also can't use more than 900 watts, which it doesn't. But one of the first things that I noticed about this machine was the fact that it's not as noisy as previous Sharks have been. So I think with the noise level, the EU has actually done quite a good thing by making the manufacturers start making the machines quieter. Because if people remember back to the days when the DC07 was around, which was a Dyson model, that was chronically, and it was seriously loud. You